Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Ted Russell Kamp is front of house.
Doesn't seem so long ago this old guitar was new, but I can fill 1,000 pages with the stories we've been through. All the lonely nights and teardrops, bad chords and busted ends, songs of love and danger, broken hearts and sweet romance. This old guitar ain't done just yet. You play rock and roll long enough, the blues is what you get. Now we've weathered all these years, every storm and scar, and you know I'm even older than this old guitar. She's got her share of scratches and even a bruise or two, but when the finish has worn down, the bare wood will have to do. She knows just what I'm thinking, and she plays just what I feel. It's like there is a part of me that's made of wood and steel. This old guitar ain't done just yet. You play rock and roll long enough, the blues is what you get. Now we've weathered all these years, and every storm and scar, and you know I'm even older than this old guitar. This old guitar ain't done just yet. You play rock and roll long enough, the blues is what you get. Now we've weathered all these years, and every storm and scar, and you know I'm even older than this old guitar. I said, you know I'm even older than this old guitar.
Ted Russell Kamp is front of house. This old guitar from the brand new record, Walking Shoes. Ted, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks. It's good to be back.
It's great to have you here again. This bringing back a nice little flood of memories.
Yeah.
We had some good times over at Ireland 32. I was talking to you earlier about the first time I ever had my TRK experience. I went to a Shooter show at the El Rey Theater when I first moved to LA, and Shooter had two opening bands that night. You played bass in the first one. You played bass in your own band and fronted for the second opener. And then you played bass in Shooter's band, and I thought, I got to know this guy.
It was a lot of music.
It was a
good
lot
night,
of music.
and I'm glad it worked. I'm glad we actually met.
Me too. So the new album, Walking Shoes, it's available everywhere right now. I recommend you get it. Let's talk about this old guitar. Why don't you introduce us to your girl there?
This is a Gibson. I got it in maybe 2006, 2007. It's a reissue of an old one. It's the Nick Lucas model. And Nick Lucas is the guy who had the original hit with Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
I'm not familiar with that.
You know the Tiny Tim? Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
Okay.
Anyway, but it was a big hit in like 1931.
Okay.
Or something. Or, I'm close, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not exactly 1931. But this is also theoretically the same model that Robert Johnson used to play.
Really?
Yeah.
Now there's a guy I know.
Yeah. I like it because it's little and it's thick, so it's boxy. It's got a great kind of mid-rangey tone. It plays well, and it's great to record with.
I wrote a paper on Robert Johnson when I was in college.
Nice.
And I believe it was for a music class. If it wasn't for a music class, it'd be an awfully strange paper to write. But that guy, all the stories surrounding his death, nobody really knows exactly what happened. My favorite story is somebody handed him a beer that was open. The bar owner, whose wife Robert Johnson was messing around with. So he handed Robert Johnson an open beer, and one of Robert's buddies knocks it out of his hand and says, "Don't you know better than to drink something somebody gives you that's open?" And Robert Johnson looked at the guy and said, "Don't you know better than to knock a drink out of my hand?" And then he got another beer, open, laced with strychnine, died foaming at the mouth. Welcome to the show. This is Front of House.
What we have to look forward to in a career of music.
There you go. Hey, you play rock and roll long enough, the blues is all you get.
That's
I love
right.
that line. I'm always fascinated by your songwriting.
Thank you.
You make it seem so easy. I know it's not, but maybe it is easier for you than others.
I think after you do it for a while, you get better at it, like anything. And you also get... I don't know. You also get this thing of like certain songs know what they want to become.
Ooh.
And part of you has to help it and massage it to get it there. And then part of you has to kind of just get out of the way.
So kind of almost let the song write itself.
In a way,
Almost.
but some songs, like I'll come up with an idea and then I realize, wow, it really just needs to be fun and charming.
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant to be a diary entry kind of a song. And then other songs want to be poetic.
Right.
And you have to let it go there. Some of the songs want to be very literal and a very specific, like a classic country music, like just a story, and getting to enjoy the diversity in those songs. And then after a while, you have enough of them. You're like, I want to make an album of whatever the new stuff I've been up to this last year or two.
Right.
And then they kind of end up in little batches. I've had great songs that just never made a record because they didn't fit on the record, just kind of subject matter-wise or contextually or mood-wise or genre-wise. And then sometimes you have a song you're like, I hit on something. I need to do more of this. This is getting close to the truth for me. And then that often kind of becomes kind of a mission statement song that helps me write the rest of the album.
So is this new record, Walking Shoes, a lot of it, is it a collection of stuff that you had written before that didn't have a place? Or was this kind of written over various tours?
I'd say 3 or 4 of the songs are older that actually didn't make an older record. I was doing a lot of traveling the last. I'm a professional musician, so
yeah, absolutely.
I do a lot of session work and playing and producing and stuff at home here in LA, and then I do a lot of touring. And as I was getting into the 2 or 3 songs that really were kind of becoming my favorite new songs, that would be the centerpiece of the record, I was realizing that some are literally about traveling and some are more using traveling as a metaphor. Some of them have to do with the old, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Sure.
Some have to do with missing my family at home. Some are the celebration of traveling and making music and making new friends and going back to a faraway place and seeing old friends and having it feel like a home away from home. So it became kind of a traveling album.
Okay.
And so a lot of the tunes are a little more country based than usual for me. Some are more, it's kind of a consistently kind of up tempo and grooving. It's a good driving record.
Mm-hmm.
And Walking Shoes became the title because I mentioned Walking Shoes in a couple of the songs.
The recurring theme.
And it became a recurring theme. And it also became, it's like if you want to grow and change and explore, the first thing you need to do is you put on those shoes and get out of the house and take a risk.
It's an
make
anthem.
It happen.
It's an anthem.
Yeah.
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 All right.
So that's why. And I also like the Walking Shoes as a thing because it's like everybody has a pair of walking shoes and
Sure.
no one ever talks about them, but we know the feeling and the comfort and that they help you kind of get out of the way of your own self and issues and just kind of get out and do something, make a change,
Well, Well, the beginning of that song, This Old Guitar, reminded me a little bit of the band, The Weight.
Yeah.
That opening lick. And
Yeah,
then,
that riff is on, like, I love the band.
Yeah.
And so there's some sort of a nod to the band on pretty much every record I do.
Nice.
And so that song is kind of like, and in fact, that walk down is very much like something the band would have done.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that about them.
Well, it kind of got me thinking about, I went from the band on my mind and then to Little Feat and then thinking about Laurel Canyon Country and then realizing Ted Russell Kamp has called Los Angeles home for quite some time now.
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah. 15 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love LA. And one of the reasons I moved here was just the sheer size of the city and the possibilities of making music with great people.
Sure.
And having a career in music. And it was also, I was just such a big fan of so much stuff, movies, writers, and musicians that came out of LA. So it's kind of, as a fan, loving Lowell George and Little Feat and Jackson Brown and Crosby, Stills and Nash,
Sure.
and then Tom Petty, not from here. Actually, most of these artists were not from here, but they moved here and kind of absorbed some of the magic, and it became a big part of their sound and what they do. Los Lobos, Dwight Yoakam, kind of the list goes on and on. Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, the list, Jerry Mulligan.
Right.
The list goes on and on.
Dripping with musical history.
Yeah.
We are front of house with Ted Russell Kamp. The new album is called Walking Shoes. I recommend you pick it up. And if you do, get it at tedrussellkamp.com so that Ted gets the money and iTunes does not. Let's hear another song, Ted.
All right, great. Okay, here's a fun one. This one's called The Last Drop.
We're gonna drink the last drop from the bottom of the well. I said I drank the last drop from the bottom of the well. I'm gonna be the first in the morning up to see the sun, the last man standing when the day is done, and I drink the last drop from the bottom of the well. I'm gonna see the first twinkling star light up the sky. I said I see the first twinkling star light up the sky. I'm gonna let it shine down, 'cause stars don't lie, and watch it put that look in your eye. See the first twinkling star light up the sky. And if I gotta walk a million miles, I will. Step by little step to the top of the hill. Whoa. When I fall off, I'm gonna get back on with a smile as wide as the day is long. 'Cause at the end of it all, for you I'm gonna sing my song. If I gotta walk a million miles, I will. Step by little step to the top of the hill. Whoa, when I fall off, I'm gonna get back on with a smile as wide as the day is long. But at the end of it all, for you I'm gonna sing my song. I'm gonna pull that blossom from a honeysuckle vine. Said I pulled that blossom from a honeysuckle vine. And that little bit of nectar gonna taste so fine. I'm gonna give it to you, baby, and make you mine. I pulled that blossom from a honeysuckle vine. Oh no, I'm gonna pull that blossom from a honeysuckle vine. Whoa, baby, I'm gonna drink the last drop from the bottom of the well.
Ted Russell Kamp, front of house. There's an anthem for you.
Want to live life to the fullest, you know?
Yeah. I love that. When I started this show, I had essentially three things in mind: a person, a guitar, and a point.
Okay.
And this is it. This is Ted Russell Kamp, everybody. This is all three.
Well, that's the goal, you know.
We were talking last time you were here about your background in, I want to say New York.
Yeah, I'm from New York.
Okay. And you had gone to a lot of musical theater with your family, with your parents.
Good memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I did a lot as a kid, I started playing trumpet in the 4th grade. Everybody in the public schools of New York State had to either join the choir or play an instrument.
Really?
And I was mortally afraid of having to sing in public. So I got a trumpet.
There's no singing with a trumpet.
No.
Yeah.
So I played trumpet and I got really into it. I loved it. And my mom was a big musical theater fan.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad would take me to jazz shows and my mom would take me to musical theater. We went to New York City regularly. And so even as a little kid, I know that that was inspiring. And it also kind of, I had access to like really seriously professional music and shows
Absolutely.
at a young age. And I got to know what that felt like, you know? And then as I got into music and playing in rock bands, it's like you want it to be great.
Well, really,
you don't know how to make it great for many years, but that I think that's part of why and how I got better at music, is having access to that stuff when I was a child.
It certainly shines through in your performance and your songwriting. I mean, some of those staccato licks. I don't even know if that's the right word, but I thought I'd use a 3-syllable music word.
It's a good one.
That's 4.
It's a good one.
Isn't it 4? No, I can't even count.
Domo staccato.
Domo,
Mr.
arigato.
Roboto. No.
Right. But no, it really shows on your song structure, and that just struck me when you were playing that song, that you were not only being entertained, you were sucking in knowledge this whole time.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, you're not aware of it sometimes, but like, I mean, a song like that is kind of roughly, it's inspired by what I love about New Orleans music. So even though it's kind of a blues progression, you know, and then that's quite a little jazz moment right there.
Yeah.
Little Randy Newman. Yeah, totally. That's very some of the things I love about classic New Orleans jazz are, that's why that song exists.
That's great. It goes to the right places at the right times. That's a fantastic song.
Good.
So producing this record, I'm curious about the process. Did you try to get in and cut it all at once?
One of the things I love doing is, because I write a lot, is when I'll have 2 or 3 songs I'm really excited about, I'll just book a session, a one-day session, and I'll call up a drummer and a guitarist friend of mine, or a keyboard player friend of mine, and I'll just say, hey, I got 2 or 3 new songs, let's just do this for a day. And so I'll end up with a bunch of these songs living on my hard drive after a year,
Okay.
or a couple years. And then certain ones will stay in my memory and rise to the top, and I immediately want to work on them and like get them to the point where they could be on a record, even if I'm not actually making a record now. And other ones will just sit there. And then what happened with this one is I had 3 or 4 that were close to done, and then I had 3 or 4 that were kind of brand new that I was super excited about. So this is a good California story. So I had a friend, got a great engineer named Kyle Mann, who works at a studio not far from here, actually. It's in Burbank. It's called the Speakeasy. And I had an old Wurlitzer, one of my favorite keyboards in the world. Anyway, I sold it to Kyle, and he said, how about this? I'll give you $400 or $600 or something, plus a free studio day. So I said, great. So I sold him the keyboard, and then had this kind of just free day floating around. I didn't know what I was going to use it for. The studio has a great Hammond organ and a great piano, so I thought I would just go in and do overdubs for a day. And then I had just done a gig with Shooter in, I think it was Santa Cruz, and it was the end of pot growing season. So I don't know if you've been up there at that time of the year, but because of all the medicinal marijuana growers are only allowed to have a certain amount of marijuana for the number of licenses that they have and medical permits that they have. So 95% of the year, they're doing just fine. But then at the height of harvest time, they have 10 times more weed than they're supposed to have. And they have to harvest it to save it. And that's how they, of course, make a living. So we played during that time. And so, of course, we play well. Not of course, but we played well.
Right.
And all of these beautiful stoners and pot farm owners are just giving us mason jars full of buds of weed. And I'm not, I mean, I like getting stoned occasionally, but I'm not one of the stoners in the band, and I barely ever get stoned, you know. But I saved the weed, and then I was like, hey, I've got 3 or 4 new songs I really want to record. I've got a free studio day. Which friends of mine are great musicians who also work for pot? So I financed the day almost entirely on trade and gifted marijuana. So the band was John Schreffler, great friend of mine, wonderful guitarist who also plays with Shooter and me. Jamie Douglas, who also plays drummer and friend and also plays with Shooter. A guy named Dan Wistrom. And then even some of the overdubs were financed with the leftover weed. So it was pretty awesome to have this totally world-class, wonderful studio day. And I ended up kind of just buying everybody lunch.
Weed is a
and
commodity.
Making them go home happy.
Especially in this business. But that's a pretty smart way to look at it.
It was wonderful. But we recorded, I think, 8 or 9 songs that day. I said, I want to make this fun. I'm going to show you, I had done 3 or 4 of those songs with those guys on my gigs. So they were familiar with some of them. And some of them were brand new. And I was just like, we're going to spend like a half hour, 45 minutes on each song. And we're just going to keep on rolling and do as many songs as we possibly can. And I think maybe like 6 or 7 of the songs from that day ended up on the record. And so there were some of the 3 or 4, like I said, were some of the ones I was super excited to record. One song, Freeway Mona Lisa, is a song I actually started like 20 years ago and loved the chorus and loved the first verse and hated and just knew the second verse wasn't right. And so that's one that was never on a record forever. And then a couple of years ago, I was in Holland and I got together. I was doing a tour over in the Netherlands and Europe. And there's a great singer-songwriter buddy of mine who promotes 1 or 2 shows I love doing, but he's also just a really wonderful, respected songwriter, Eric DeVries. And so I said, hey, I got this song. Will you help me finish it? So we rewrote the second verse, and then it sat around on my computer again for another 3 years. And then I pulled it out that day, and it ended up becoming this wonderful kind of moody, psychedelic song, mysterious song.
Now, when you pulled it out after 3 years, did you overdub much? Did you recut it? What did you keep? What did you?
I had never actually recorded it.
Okay.
So it was just the song and the lyric and like the work tape is when you have like you write the song and you just kind of do an acoustic guitar and vocal, either into your Pro Tools rig or into your phone,
right?
Or back in the day, it would have been into your tape recorder. So it was just the song living in my mind and this little simplified version that I had. And I had done it a couple times at Ireland's 32 actually with John. Because it's a very easy song. One of the great things one of the things to learn about doing jam session kind of gigs is it's good to have a good arsenal of a handful of really easy songs. So you can say the verse is C sharp to E and the chorus is F sharp minor to A to E. And that's the whole song. So that people can immediately be comfortable and start sounding good on it.
Right.
You know, it doesn't do anybody good if I do a jam session and I'm at a jam session and I call a song that's too complex and just makes other people look foolish, makes me unhappy that we're not sounding as good as I wish we were on this song, and then you're in danger of the band falling apart. So that was one of these super easy songs that just has a vibe and a mood and there's something special about it. So I pulled it out at I pulled it out this day of the recording session. If it had been one of those days where I was like, I got 3 songs and we're going to do them right, then the song probably would not have ended up on the album. But because I was coming in with the mindset of we're going to do as many songs as we can, and it's going to be fun and easy, I threw this song in, and we did it probably 3 times, maybe. And the last take is the one on the record. And then I overdubbed a little Wurlitzer and piano. And then I had a friend of mine, actually 2 women, Emily Zuzik, great singer and songwriter I'm working with in the area, sang harmony, and then Jamie Wyatt.
I love Jamie Wyatt.
She also sang harmony on that song.
Jamie's fantastic. She's starting to blow up a little bit.
She's wonderful. She's wonderful. We're actually recording a new record with her starting next week, and I'll be playing on it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd love to drop by that session if I may.
Yeah, it'll be a good one. It'll be a good one.
Right on. Freeway Mona Lisa, you feel like playing it?
No.
Okay.
Thank you for asking, and I'm sorry I talked so much about it. But it's like it's a vibe
psychedelia
song you need the band to play. It doesn't work as well solo.
Okay.
You know.
Well, you make an interesting point though, and something that people in bands who often find themselves at jam sessions could really do well taking a note from you. Have an arsenal of simple songs.
Yeah, and sometimes you're on stage with a couple guys who really understand country music but are not really rockers.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe don't pull out that Elton John song.
Yeah.
Or that Jackson Browne song. Right. But pull out Folsom Prison Blues.
Sure.
Some of the country guys, everyone knows it. Everyone's going to sound good on it right away.
Right.
And if you're in the band, if you're up there with a bunch of guys who play funk really well or whatever, you gear your kind of singer-songwriter, mellow, Neil Young, Harvest kind of stuff, then pull out songs they know and that everyone's going to be comfortable with and sound good on.
Sounds good.
Music is a team. It's kind of neat that the first time we met was at a gig when I was playing bass with people and also doing my own band,
mm-hmm.
because there's a sympathetic team energy to any great band, and that's one of the things that I'm most inspired by. Kind of.
That's
there
are 2 rules when it comes to say team sports and in bands. You never want to be the best player in your band. You want to surround yourself with people who can up your game.
Yeah, you are all motivating each other to be better.
And then you do play better.
Yeah.
When you're surrounded by better players.
Yeah. There's a history of some people like Art Blakey, from Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. It's a jazz reference, but Art Blakey, Miles Davis was another one. There are guys who are known to be great artists, but also have had these waves of incredible young musicians come mm-hmm. through their band.
Right.
And learn and grow, and then they move on. You know what I mean? And that's a pretty cool, inspiring thing to kind of have being a coach and being an educator be part of what you do. And sometimes when I'm producing a record, it's like that. Also, I'm in my 40s now, so I'll do sessions and I'll be in bands where I'm the old guy, and then I'll be in other bands where I'm the youngest guy, and other bands where I'm kind of like surrounded by other people, and we're all in our 30s and 40s and 50s. We're all kind of, it feels more like we're peers. Yeah. You know, I mean, we're all peers once you get on the bandstand, but it's pretty cool to be when I still have access to that feeling of being the young guy and having my mind blown by these more experienced guys who are teaching me lessons in the midst of every song we're doing. And then there are other times when I'm the old guy.
When you're the leader.
And I can kind of make a little coaching comment. I don't want to be rude or snarky or be condescending, of course.
Sure, it doesn't ever come across that way.
This is like this other thing I've done. Let's try this. Yeah. This might work.
Yeah.
And if you bring it up in the right way that's positive, then every once in a while there's another guy in the band who will come up to you on the break or after the song is up. It's like, wow, I wouldn't have thought of doing it that way. And when you described it that way, it was perfect. You know what I mean? Like helping everyone think and be on the same page is kind of one of those elusive but really gratifying things about making music.
Yeah. Ted Russell Kamp is front of house. Ted, it's great to have you here. What do you want to play for us? Let's hear another song.
Here's a song called Hold On.
your feelings start to fade and you're tired and lost your way. You've been running like a river to the sea. When you're through with chasing highs, put down your disguise and hold on to me. You've been looking for a friend, a love loyal to the end, who might even know you better than me. When that love has come and gone, and you're barely hanging on, then hold on to me. Hold on, you're on, hold on to me. Let go of your troubles, let go and let them be, and hold on to me. I'm the one who's always loved you and put nothing else above you. Am I a fool to sit and wait so patiently? Now we can leave your past behind, 'cause someday soon you'll find you can hold on to me. Hold on, you're on, hold on to me. Let go of all your troubles, let go and let them be, and hold on to me. Let go of all your lovers, let go and let them be. Hold on to me. Now you can hold on to me.
Ted Russell Kamp, front of house. Man, it's a pleasure to hear some goddamn good music.
Thank you.
I am happy you're here. Now, something, I believe it's got to be positively surreal, has just come around in your life that I really want to talk about. Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, believe that you would be in a band with a founding member of Guns N' Roses?
No, it's incredible.
You're
It's
playing
incredible.
with Duff McKagan.
And even wilder, I'm playing bass
Yeah,
in Duff McKagan's band.
that was my next question.
Yeah.
How does that happen? Now, what is Duff doing then?
Duff is going to sing and play acoustic guitar.
Okay.
And so this is a new record that he wrote, and Shooter Jennings produced it.
Yeah. It's called Tenderness, right?
It's called Tenderness, and it comes out, I think, at the end of May. They've released a song, and then I think in May 30th we do our first show, and we got a 2 or 3 week tour around the U.S. They're talking about a 2 or 3 week tour in Europe later in the year.
Very cool.
So yeah, it's incredible. I was describing it to my wife, because I've been a Guns N' Roses fan over the year, but I don't listen to Guns N' Roses regularly now, So I was telling my wife about it, and I'm like, when I was in high school, one of my first assignments for the school paper was to review Appetite for Destruction. So there, I reviewed the record. Who would have thought the 14-year-old me, who was in one of my first rock bands at the time, would then be playing with Duff McKagan years later, But it's a really good record. It's a really good record. Duff has a lot to say. Really well-written song. Some of it almost reminds me more of like mid-'70s David Bowie rather than the harder rock of that you'd think when you think of Guns N' Roses, But well-written songs. Duff's a great guy and a great singer. And it's the rest of the Shooter Jennings band with me. So we're all friends and used to making music together. And it's going to be a blast.
That's fantastic,
Yeah.
man. Coming up June 13th at the El Rey in Los Angeles. Is that correct? Is that the right date?
It might be the 12th or 13th. I'm not sure. But we have like maybe 8 or 10 shows or something around the U.S. Most of them are the bigger cities, like Philadelphia, New York. I think there's a Nashville show. I think there's an Austin, Texas show. And then I know it's the El Rey Theater. Something tells me it might be June 12th. Okay. But anyway, it's right in that right area.
Well, I'm definitely going to be in the crowd for that show. I'm very excited about it. Hats off to you playing bass in the bass players band.
That's pretty wild.
You are a bass player's bass player. But I mean, this is a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah. And we did one gig so far. It was a 3-song thing. Jonesy's Jukebox. Mm-hmm. So we did it, and we're rehearsing for it the day before. And I'm like, hey, Duff, I know you're if there's anything I'm doing that you don't like or anything you want me to do that's different, just let me know. Yeah. Because I'm approaching it like learning, getting into his style of playing. That's, of course, part of his sound, And so I want to be myself a little bit, but I want to do him justice. I'm not going to like come in and just do my own thing,
sure,
whatever that would be. So I'm trying to do it justice, but then kind of add little bits and not do it entirely note for note. And every single step, he's like, no, man, it sounds great. It's awesome. I couldn't do it as well as you. Like he literally said that to me. So it's like, just be yourself, do your thing.
That's beautiful.
So it's been great. It's been great.
Do you feel like picking up the bass, playing a little bass song for us?
Sure, man.
Let's make that switch. Again, I will tell you, friends, the album from Ted Russell Kamp spelled with a K, it's called Walking Shoes. It's got this fantastically drawn profile of TRK. And I can't wait to listen to this record. Again, go to tedrussellkamp.com and buy the record there. This is Ted Russell Kamp, front of house.
So here's a newer solo bass song. It's on the new record. And actually, this is the last song I finished for the record. It's called Highway Whisper. And when I was writing this, I started writing this song about 10 years ago with a friend of mine, Carrie Ott, in Nashville. And we came up with part of the chord progression in the verse and the title, Highway Whisper. But the rest of the song was never made it onto a record. There was always something missing, and I didn't know what it was. It's kind of like the song didn't know what it wanted to be yet. And then as the rest of this kind of traveling, walking shoes, road songs album started evolving, I was thinking about the title. And I was reminded when I grew up in New York, and when I finished college, I moved to Seattle. And we used to live about 2 blocks off of the I-5, off of this major interstate, but up over a hill. So you couldn't see the highway from our apartment. And now I moved there with my girlfriend, and we were both like 20, 21. And my dream was to be a musician. And I was like playing with people on the street and getting every funky $50 gig I could find, and answering ads in the newspaper to get to find musicians. And every once in a while, I would just open up the window, and the highway sounded like a river. Yeah. Didn't sound like a highway. Well, of course, you caught it at the wrong time. You'd hear screeching brakes and horns and stuff. But I used to open up that window when I got home from my gigs, and I would just kind of dream and wish and drink in the sound of that highway/river and think about the musicians I was hoping to meet and the music I was hoping to play and the career I was hoping to have. And the dream that the highway and it can take you who knows where, kind of all encapsulated. And I wrote the song in I completely rewrote the song in about 2.5 days. So here it is, Highway Whisper.
When the night finally goes down on this town, in the quiet of the night is the only friend you've found. If you listen, you can hear it in the distance, that highway whisper all around. Now the cars, they don't know just where they're going, and the stars don't need to know they light the way. And no river ever cares just where she's flowing, if she makes it there someday. Well, highway whisper just enough to bring me home, and highway whisper everything I wish I'd known. When there's no one else around to hear that lonesome sound, whisper so I know I'm not alone. Have you seen the moon crawl across the sky? And have you heard the traffic hum as the hours roll by? Well, I'm not asking you for much, just a horizon and a touch of a hobo's lullaby. Well, highway whisper just enough to bring me home, and highway whisper everything I wish I'd known. Now when there's no one else around to hear that lonesome sound, whisper so I know I'm not alone. Won't you whisper so I know I'm not alone? For every road I found when I was weary, and every dream I savored as a child, one footstep at a time is enough to ease this worried mind and give me strength to walk another mile. When highway whisper just enough to bring me home, and highway whisper everything I wish I'd known. Now when there's no one else around to hear that lonesome sound, whisper so I know I'm not alone. She whispers so I know I'm not alone.
Our guest in the studio here at the North Hollywood Hideout is Ted Russell Kamp. Ted, you are front of house.
And it's good to be back.
It's so
It's
good.
good to see you again. It's good
So
to be
good.
back.
Just like old times. Let's hear another song, my man. I'm digging the vibe.
All right. So this is a song that's going to be on my next record,
Okay.
which is going to be called Down in the Den. The Den is the name of my home studio. I live in Highland Park.
Nice.
And I've been doing a lot more producing and recording at home. About half of this record was recorded at home. The other half, we started in other studios and I finished at home. So this one's called Every Little Thing You Need.
Every little thing you need, you know I got it. And every little thing you see under the sun. Every little bit of love and kissing is all that you've been missing. Every little thing you need, honey, I'm the one. And every little thing you say, you know I'm listening. And every little word I hear it loud and clear. I know it might be crazy, but ever since you called me baby, for every little sound it's music to my ears. Oh, for every little thing you need, oh, every little thing you need, every little thing, and oh, for every little thing you need, oh, every little thing you need, all you got to do is call me up and tell me about how every little wish you got to tell me. And every little hope I hope you understand. 'Cause you've been making my dreams come true. I gotta do the same thing for you. For every little thing you need, honey, I'm your man. Oh, every little thing you need. Oh, every little thing you need. Every little thing and oh, for every little thing you need. I said for every little thing that you need. All you got to do is call me up and tell me about how every little wish you got to tell me. And every little hope I hope you understand. 'Cause you've been making my dreams come true. I gotta do the same thing for you. For every little thing you need, honey, I'm your man. You've been making my dreams come true. I gotta do the same thing for you. For every little thing you need, honey, I'm your man. I said I'm your man. I said I'm your man. Oh, oh. I said I'm your man.
Ted Russell Kamp is front of house. Ted, I love watching you play bass. Your mastery of that instrument.
Thank you.
It's fun to watch, man. You ever get that? Like a lot of times when you go to a show, or at least when I go to a show, I'll kind of focus on one person in the band at a time and just see that person's
done that
groove.
too, yeah.
And most of the time, the bass man's got the best groove all the time. And I do love watching you on stage and just watching you play, because you got that soul, and it just shines
Thank you
through
very
with
much.
every little lick. Real nice. So you mentioned before that now you're well, not now, but for quite a while you've been teaching songwriting at Musicians Institute. I've always known songwriting could be taught. I always known that there was a science to it, but I never really kind of did the math on my own. What's the first thing you'll tell a new class in your songwriting class? What's the first thing you'll tell them about songwriting?
Well, one of the things I've read a lot about songwriting, and I've studied a lot of great songs. But one of the things I'll say is a good song is about one thing. And you need to figure out what that thing is and how to say it best.
Okay.
There's one student who had a song and the chorus was good, but the first verse sounded like he was falling in love with this girl and it was wonderful. And then the chorus supported it. And then the second verse was they're breaking up. And then the chorus was the same chorus, which made it sound like everything was wonderful. And so I said, so what is this song about? Is it about how beautiful love is? Is it about the arc of the whole relationship? Because if you're going to do that, then you have to change a couple lines in the chorus so that it can be maybe more ambiguous and capture both feelings with the same words. Or change a few words so that the relationship can end and then you can get some kind of wisdom from your experience after the fact as you're looking back on this relationship that began and then was beautiful and then ended.
Sure.
And I was like, what is this song? Which one of those is it? Because it's just kind of confusing right now. If I'm listening to your words, you're contradicting yourself. Is it beautiful or is it painful? Are you lonely or is it life affirming? You know? And he was like, wow, I don't know. And one of the things that many young songwriters do is the first words you write down they just have to be right. They just have, well, that's what it is. It's done. And it's like, well, every once in a while, a great song happens really quickly.
Sure.
But most of the time, great songs, great literature, great movies, it happens with editing. You have to figure out the best way to make it, the best way to tell whatever the story is. And I was like, it sounds to, and the more we talked about the song, me and the student in the class, I was like, it sounds like you should have two songs. One is about the beauty of this relationship and how it makes you whole and you look into her eyes and you feel this way. And the other song can be about, yeah, but now it's different and I'm a better person because of it. Sounds like and it's like, yeah, but this. I was like, it sounds like this should be two songs and you shouldn't be afraid to let go just because those are the first words you wrote within a 10-minute period
Right.
a month and a half ago. If you want it to be, if you want the song to mean more to more people, then consider editing it.
Right. Never be afraid of editing yourself. Yeah.
There's because we've all had all those feelings. And one of the great things about writing a song, or trying to write a song when you're going to perform it for other people, it's like if you want to just perform it on your couch and do it for yourself for your own cathartic reasons, then that's great. You can say whatever you want, and you don't have to complete sentences, and it can just be random and emotional, and these images that maybe don't mean anything to anybody else but mean a lot to you, and that's great. But the second you want to play it for people and expect and hope someone will be moved by it, and then you were making a joke about the commerce in music. The second you hope someone will actually like it enough and be moved by it that they're going to want to pay $10 or $20 to see you play the song live, or even pay 99 cents to experience the song again and again and again.
Right.
Then it's your job to translate the feeling into something that they're going to dig or understand or appreciate.
How has teaching songwriting affected your songwriting over the past few years?
One of the coolest things about it, I think, is when you have to explain it, you learn it better.
Okay.
When you have to explain anything, you these rules and these ideas that you just kind of felt or did instinctively, you start to put words to them to make them clear ideas to someone who maybe has done it less than you have or done it with a different perspective than you have. And when you start putting it into words, you're like, oh yeah, like I never thought about songwriting in terms of it has to be one thing. There's one great thing that is the core idea of every song.
Right.
Or of every great song. The Long and Winding Road. Let It Be. You know what I mean? A Boy Named Sue. Folsom Prison Blues. They're very specifically the feeling of a train taking you away. Mm-hmm. Fire and Rain. This internal feeling that's echoed by nature and what I'm feeling. That's the intensity of my feelings. Every verse, every bridge line, every lyric has to somehow point back to that central thing. I never really thought about that until I kind of said it in class one day. And I was like, yeah, I believe that. Yeah. I believe that. You need to distill your, there's a famous thing, the song Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen.
Yeah.
It's like one of the great songs written in the English language, and I think he wrote 68 verses to that song to choose the best 6 or to whittle it down to the best 6. That's an incredible amount of focus and editing to have a song say exactly what you want it to say, to have it build just that way. And every time he gets to the phrase hallelujah, it means something different, and it comes from a different place, and it gets deeper with every verse. It's like, well, okay, I've never written 68 verses to a song. I was telling you about the Highway Whisper song. Like I probably wrote 3 or 4 extra verses, and then 3 or 4 extra couplets that was not in either one of those verses that almost made it into one of the verses that ended up in the song. And it's like, you want to really get into the beauty of a song, it has this cumulative energy. And you can start with an image or start with a time or a place or start with a feeling. And then it has to mean something. And with every couple lines, it should mean more. And every time you get back to that chorus, it should mean more. So that when you're done with it, you go, oh, yep. And it doesn't have to be like, what's a great example of a song that's not the most poetic thing in the world, but it's a Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I'm Yours. It captures the mood. Each little couplet sets you up for Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I'm Yours.
Right.
I love you, baby. That's what it's about the positivity and that feeling of love and like giving yourself over to someone. Yeah. And it's like not the deepest and most poetic song any of us ever heard, but it's a magical, incredible song.
Well, my head immediately went to Grand Funk Railroad. We're an American band. It's about one thing.
Yeah, man.
And probably the most honest lyrics in rock and roll are, we're coming to your town. We're going to party you down.
We're going to party down.
But yeah, that's one thing. And it all comes back and supports that main refrain. Do you keep a notepad on you? Do you like all of a sudden maybe think of a cool line or something?
Oh, yeah, totally.
So you got a book of all these things and then go back to it sometimes and see how you can fit that into something you're currently writing?
Yeah, and every once in a while I'm writing with someone and we don't know what to write about. So we'll look through our ideas and see if any one of them is inspiring.
Yeah.
And that's often a good starting place. Did I do a song called Boom Boom last time I saw you?
No, you did not.
Then I will do it now.
All right.
So I did a whole album of almost entirely bass and vocals a couple years ago. It's called The Low and Lonesome Sound.
Great record.
And this one, I originally wrote it with a woman named Funky Jennifer Gibbons. Great friend of mine, lives in Hollywood, and I produced an EP for her and then a Christmas EP as well. So we wrote this one together. It's called Boom Boom.
You got my heart, you got my soul, you got my body, got me spinning around and around. Said I'm going up, I'm going in, I'm going down. So come a little bit closer, I'm gonna give you the goods. I said whatever you wish for, you know it's understood. 'Cause I am yours now, and yours alone. Hang up your coat, hang up your keys, and hang up the phone. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Just me and you, the things we'll do. Boom, 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 boom. I said, baby, you move me, you're never away. You know that I wanna feel you till the break of day. You know you keep me wanting. You're more and more. Let's hit the bed, let's hit the red, let's hit the floor. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Just me and you, the things we'll do. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Just me and you, the things we'll do. Boom, 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 boom. Let's do it all over again and again. You know you give me the strength, girl, of 1,000 men. But you only need one deal, that much is true. So come on in, come on down, 'cause I want you. I said come on in, yeah, come on down, 'cause I want you. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Just me and you, the things we'll do. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Just me and you, the things we'll do. Boom, 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 boom. Just me and you, the things we'll do. Boom, 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 boom.
Ted Russell Kamp is front of house. That's from the Low and Lonesome Sound that's on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be on the next record, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
it's definitely on the Low and Lonesome Sound.
I like that. There's always something about hearing a song. Sometimes it reminds you of another one, and there's that sense of familiarity that you get, and you think, oh, maybe that's why I like it. In that case, there's a little reminiscent of the John Lee Hooker, but it's not.
Totally.
It's teasing it. It's enticing it. It's bringing it out. It's not ripping it off.
Well, actually, that was the funny thing is when Funky Jen started writing that song, and it was actually called Boom Boom Boom, and it was like a blues that was exactly like, it was frightfully similar to the John Lee Hooker song.
Okay.
And I was like, it's wonderful, and she's like, no, it's an homage.
It's different.
I'm like, no, it's theft.
Right.
So we were joking. We were close enough friends at that point that we could say that to each other. I was like, it's a little too close. Mm-hmm. I was like, but how about this? And I wrote that. I rewrote it as this kind of funk rock groove.
Sure.
And then I changed the chord progression so it wasn't a regular blues, but it was like classic 12-bar blues. And then I kind of reworked the lyrics so it would fit that new form. And I was like, now it's an homage.
Now it's an
homage.
homage.
Now some people will just know, okay, boom, 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 it's fun. But some people will be like, oh yeah, he's playing with the John Lee Hooker song and making it something different. So now it's a unique new thing. And you know what I mean? I don't want to, I love it. I'm such a fan of music that I like it when I get to see a band and they are like, oh, that's this kind of Talking Heads kind of thing. I dig that part. Or this is like television, or this is like a John Lee Hooker, or that's a jazz progression that they've reworked to be this pop song. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's one of the things that's charming about some of like the more piano-y Paul McCartney stuff. Is you can feel the old jazz songs he's kind of trying to make his own and do something new with.
Yeah,
You know
right
what
now
I
I
mean?
have Let 'Em In my head right now.
Well, yeah, like, and so when I'll do something like that, like, it's okay if you figure out that I'm a John Lee Hooker fan,
Sure.
and I don't have to do a John Lee Hooker cover to let you know.
Right.
And so it's like that's cool. I like that. That's
So-
part of this kind of long lineage of American music and roots music as it's coming into 2019. And so it's I like being a part of that tradition, and it's cool that you say that. So great.
So if someone listening to the show right now is like, shit, dude, I want to take a songwriting class with Ted Russell Kamp. You gotta get accepted into Music Institute, right? You
do. It's a university.
Yeah.
So they have 1 year programs and 2 year programs and 4 years, and some people just show up for a quarter.
So you just can't jump in and say, I want to take a songwriting class with Ted.
You could find me on Facebook,
There you go.
and we could talk about it.
Ted Russell Kamp is our guest. The new record is called Walkin' Shoes. Ted, I'd love to hear another song if you got something.
All right, hey, let me switch to guitar.
Let's do it.
If I had a dime for every line on my face, I'd buy around for every single fool in this place. And I'd give you my 2 cents, tell you all that I've been through. You could take it, you could leave it, you could tell me what to do. But I'd take my time, and I'd go in style, if I only got paid by the mile. If I had a nickel for every song I tried to write, I could have checked you every underdog who stayed in the fight. 'Cause the one thing that I know is I'm still hungry every night. You ain't done till it's over, you ain't told but till it's right. But I'd take my time, and I'd go in style, if I only got paid by the mile. For every night, and every show, and every tree that comes and goes, through every trouble, I just smile. If I only got paid by the mile, if I only got paid by the mile. If I had a silver dollar for every time I had to grease each fool I met, each drop of sweat and each missing puzzle piece, but I'd give it to the working man who's living day to day. But when you're in this one together, you got to stop and say, I'll take my time, and I'd go in style, if I only got paid by the mile. I'd take my time, and I'd go in style, if I only got paid by the mile. I'd take my time, and I'd go in style, if I only got paid by the mile. If I only got paid by the mile. If I only got paid by the mile.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. That's a great song.
Thank you. And actually, Sirius XM has been playing that one a lot.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
Is that on the Outlaw Country Station?
On the Outlaw
Channel?
Country Station.
All right. Well, Ted Russell Kamp. Again, the website, tedrussellkamp.com. Ted, it's been a thin slice of heaven, my friend. You know what?
My pleasure.
It's been a thick slice of heaven.
Oh, yeah.
I love this. Again, Ted Russell, Kamp, Front of House, the new record, Walking Shoes. Highly recommend you pick that bad boy up. Play it loud and proud, my friends.